It's interesting, the reaction, a couple of tweets I'll just read out for you. Ben Lodge has tweeted saying, come on, if that penalty goes in, it's amazing, Aguero. Anyone can miss a pen. He tried it, it failed. If he scores 9 in the next 3 games, he starts the final. I bet he's still on pens.
I bet he's not.
No, I don't think he will.
No way is he on pens. He got taken off him. He only took that penalty because he had his competition was Sterling, and he saw his penalty he missed. He missed a couple on the trot, hadn't he? He might have missed 3. And the rest of them were off. Gundogan, De Bruyne, Jesus, he'd missed a few penalties as well. So, he was the senior player that I'm having this one because everyone on the field had missed a load.
Steve Blakeman has tweeted the Aguero Panenka was all about making a statement on what is likely to be one of his last games for City.
I get that.
Whether it was brave, he'd have been a hero if it gone in, or reckless, as it turned out. We forgive him. The man is a living legend. I'm not totally convinced that all City fans feel that way about it. However, it was very self-indulgent. And the point that the first tweeter said, Ben, when he said, if it goes in, he's a hero, it didn't go in. And if you analyse it, it's one of the worst Panenkas I've ever seen because he's taken a little run-up and then just 2 or 3 steps away from the ball, he's slowed right down. Now, the keeper hasn't moved at this point. So why is he slowing down? That's telegraphed what he's going to be doing. Probably the keeper's thinking to himself, there's a good chance he's going to put it down the middle here. So he kind of goes to his right a little bit, the goalkeeper, Edouard Mendy, but he doesn't completely commit to going. And then the Panenka comes in. And it is disrespectful to Mendy because Mendy, I was listening to Sam Matterface's commentary on Saturday and they'd already talked about how big his reach is. They were talking about the qualities of Edouard Mendy as a technical detail about Edouard Mendy as a goalkeeper. And one of the biggest qualities he's got is the length of his arms, the reach he's got. Did Aguero not know that? Because if he'd known that, he would not have tried this Panenka. And when he finally does connect with the ball, the connection is so pathetic that it barely reaches the line. Mendy's got time to settle himself, stick his hand in the air, long arm in the air, get the ball, no problem. It's a chance to seal the victory, more or less, the chance to seal the title, and he's blown that opportunity. And it could have been his
last goal, and that's why he did it. We all know why he did it. It would have been another Aguero moment, wouldn't it? People have been talking about it, his last goal. Possibly his last goal at the ground was the Panenka.
It's not against Sheffield United, it's against Chelsea.
Did you know?
Let's have some respect.
When you take a penalty, where do you think's the safest place to put it?
I would say high.
High down the middle.
High down the middle, is it?
97% who go high down the middle go in.
Right, okay.
Can you believe that? Because now, these days, goalkeepers, they have to, because it's hit with that much pace and accuracy. Look at Kane when he normally puts it right in the corner. They have to gamble which way they're going to go. So the ones that go straight down the middle and high are the best at going through there. And then if they go straight down the middle low, because your feet can get in the way, it's about 88%.
It's very interesting. It's risky lifting a penalty. Anybody will tell you that. Putting a penalty high, whether it's middle or in the corner, always a risk. But they always look fantastic when they come off. Waghorn's penalty for Derby that was so crucial at the weekend was sensational.
Oh, they look great when they go in the top corner.
It was brilliant.
And stuff like that. But I think it was. But I think with the only probably reason he did it is all depends what coach, manager you have in any sport. If they encourage you to play with flair, show your personality, whether you're on the ball or using the ball if you're playing cricket or same with rugby, but using your own personality. And they encourage that. Now, there's no way Guardiola was going to criticise what he did. I said this at the top of the show. No way. And I don't think he would within the dressing room. The player knows, and the embarrassment he has had because he missed. If it had gone in, it would have been fantastic. And there'd have been other footballers have tried it, as they have in the past. Some score, some miss. But any other player now in that Manchester City team has seen the embarrassment and seen what's followed by people talking about it, won't try that. That's not going to happen in the Champions League final. There's no way one of the players would even attempt to do that in the Champions League final.
Well, I thought, I mean, if you are Aguero, and people saying if it goes in, then it's amazing and it's brilliant, Aguero. It did not go in. And on the balance of probabilities, if you're going to be taking a penalty, and it'll be in your mind, if you're Sterling, Aguero, whoever you are, and you've got a chance, there's a chance you might be taking a penalty if you get one. Now, you're not thinking about how you're going to take that penalty. And when you think to yourself, I know what I'll do. I'll dink it. I'll do a Panenka. That's what I'm going to do. Do you not think to yourself, well, hang on a minute, this keeper, he's got the biggest reach in the Premier League. let's make sure. I'm not going to go Panenka. I'm going to choose a corner and I'm going to go for it and I'm going to rattle it in.
It's not like he's got a great record of taking penalties or putting it in.
Exactly.
So I think he's missed a few. So for him to be taking it was a shock anyway. But as I said, the other players on the pitch at that time had all missed. They've all missed. So he's back on pens because the others are off the field.
There's another thing we're missing here, and that is Aguero's attitude generally, I think, can be questioned. The first goal, when they went 1-0 up, the ball's come across from Jesus. He's completely miscontrolled it, and so Sterling, as he was right there, the ball's in front of him. He ain't going to pass it back to Aguero. He's going to slam it into the net, and that's what happened. And then they go back waiting for the Chelsea team to kick off. And they're having a conversation about it. And Aguero's showing him his leg as if to say, well, I knew what I was doing. I was controlling it. Then I was going to score it. It's like he's saying, you've taken my goal away from me. It's about the team. It's not about you.
Hey, or you could even go as far as to say, I think you kicked it against my leg there. You just hit me there.
it's my goal. Yeah. Let me give you, you'll all know, regular Drive listeners will know, I've got a friend of mine from uni is a long-term, lifelong Man City fan. He was raging. At times he's unreasonable. His name's John. But I'll read you the message he sent me. 7:30 Saturday night. He said, Aguero has besmirched his entire City legacy. Sorry if that sounds like a bitter overreaction, but for me, he really has. That was a petulant, unprofessional reaction to what had happened for the first goal, and it could cost us so dearly. I'm absolutely raging right now. He lost his head, forgot the magnitude of the occasion, and put himself before the team. I'd happily never see him pull on a City shirt again, and as for that statue, ... Now, I personally think that's a little bit of an overreaction.
I would say so. The only way that does it, if they go on and they don't win the title from here, I mean, that could be the moment.
Yeah.
That's another Aguero moment.
Aguero.
Which cancels it out. But they're going to go on and win it from here.
Of course they are. Yeah, they are. But I think that for me, I understand where he's coming from. I think he's gone over the top. But I think for Aguero I think it's disrespectful to Mendy, and I think it's disrespectful to Chelsea that he thought he could take a penalty with that little professionalism that he'd get away with it. I just think he completely forgot who they were playing against. This is Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, who've been in fantastic form. You've got a chance. You've just scored one before half-time. You've got a chance to score another one before half-time. Don't mess about with it. It's not playing games.
It's game over, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's blown that opportunity. There's a psychological element to it as well with the Champions League final coming up. So I do get that. However, there'll be some brilliant players starting for City that haven't started in either this one or the FA Cup semi-final.
And Aguero won't be taking a penalty, or Sterling, or Jesus. It'll be De Bruyne or Gundogan. Gundogan if he's on the pitch, which he will be, or De Bruyne. I
do think that some City fans will look at that and think, he's let us down a little bit. I can see why we're letting him go. Will it affect... All right, we all think he's going to Barcelona, right? But if he isn't, and it's still open where he's going to go, will it affect anybody's judgment of him?
He just won't be on penalties. But if it's a smaller club, and it's not a Barcelona, I'm sure he has it written in, but he gets first chance on penalties. But I can guarantee you his next one, he won't try it. He'll be trying to blast it into the corner.
Listen, it's the source of a lot of debate, the Panenka that Aguero took on Saturday. And I agree, if it does go in, then nobody's talking about it. But it didn't go in. That's the point, because it was so badly taken. The run-up was unprofessional. The connection was unprofessional. The lack of respect for Mendy was unprofessional. So that's why it's being talked about. And has tweeted that the Panenka is a skill, just like a Cruyff turn or a volley. Difference here is the tariff is so high if you get it wrong and you look a mug. Whether that's Aguero's confidence or arrogance is a moot point. Mate, it's not career-defining for him.
Well, look where it come from, the Panenka. It was in an high-pressurised moment to win the European Championships, wasn't it?
It was. It was a Czech player, Antonin Panenka. So
it was when he did it, it was in one of the most high-profile football matches ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's final of a major championship.
So what's your point?
Well, I'm just saying that's what it's about, though, isn't it? For him to try it, to win that game, and it came off. That's how it came about. So people still probably do it in those situations. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'd have been more worried about putting the ball in the net, right, picking my corner, or straight down the middle and sticking to it.
Right.
I won't be trying something that has got a bit of extra skill factor, which a lot can go wrong when you're trying something like that.
But I also think there's more to it than people realise, because Antonin Panenka, when he did it in the shootout in the Euros final against West Germany, he will have watched the other penalties and he would have seen the Germany goalkeeper go in early, trying to get a head start. So he will have seen that. So he would have realised it might be safe to do it this way. He's watched a series of penalties. He's watched the keeper go early on all those penalties and thought, right, that's what I'm going to do with mine. So, of course, it worked.
Well, perhaps
it's not by accident.
Yeah, I know, but perhaps, Aid, and we don't know this, they've watched him in the goals when people have taken penalties against him and see how he's gone early. So perhaps they might have done that research.
Who?
Well, Manchester City. They might have done the research on Chelsea.
Did you hear what Sam just said? Nobody's missed more penalties than Man City since the start of last season.
We know
they clearly need to work harder on penalties. And that's a club thing.
I know that. What I'm trying to say is, though, they might have done the research on the goalkeeper in question and said, but he does dive early, he tends to go to his right or whatever, or like they do, because the research they do now in stats, all these clubs have someone to do it.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think Man City do, and I think we should have a look at Pep Guardiola for that. And they've got a penalty shootout potentially coming up in a Champions League final against this goalkeeper. So if anything should focus the mind, it should be that. Ben has tweeted back saying when Pirlo did it, it was brilliant Pirlo. Brilliant Pirlo has been watching Joe Hart, and it would analyse Joe Hart on penalties, okay? He would have known that Joe Hart went down very quickly for penalties to try and get a march on them. That's what he was doing. He was trying to get there before the ball got there. So he knew he was on safe ground doing that because he knew Joe Hart was going to go.
Well, Joe Hart would have had to go early if he's going left.
Yeah.
Low left, he'd have had to go really
we all know
early.
low to his left was not his great point.
So he would have gone early that way, so he always just slotted it the other way.
Can you listen, anyone who's saying, like Ben, if it goes in, it's brilliant. Yes, we understand that, but there's a reason why it didn't go in. The run-up was poor, the connection was poor, and the keeper was better than Aguero realised. This is the Chelsea goalkeeper. The Chelsea goalkeeper. He's not playing against Sheffield United or Stevenage. It's the Chelsea goalkeeper. It's one of the best in the world. Andrew, a Man City fan, what do you want to say about it?
Hi, guys. It's another really, really good show.
Cheers.
I agree with you up to a point. I think Aguero wasn't trying to take the mickey out of the goalkeeper. He was just trying to score a goal, and he obviously completely mucked it up. Joe Hart, that was interesting. I saw Di Canio score a goal against Joe Hart, Panenka at Upton Park, because Joe Hart goes one way or the other, and they know the goalkeepers are going to go. Mendy stood his ground, and he got lucky. Aguero should be kicking himself. What concerns me a little bit more is the number of penalties we have missed. You've just played a commentary from Sam Matterface. We've missed more penalties than any other side of the Premier League since not the start of this season, the season before. That's ridiculous. And you can go through all the players you've just mentioned too who take penalties, De Bruyne and Gundogan. They have both missed penalties for City. We are not good at penalties. And if I was Guardiola, I would be having them on the training ground for 2 hours after the normal practice, taking penalties.
But Andrew, I think Guardiola. I'm a big Pep Guardiola fan, but I think Guardiola is to blame here. You keep missing penalties. You keep changing the penalty taker. Do they practice them enough?
Ed, but highlighting a problem like that and overworking on it can sometimes affect the players even more. And the problem they've got now is, but they've seen Aguero take that penalty. The next time they get a penalty, look what pressure that puts on now the next person who takes it. So it builds even more. And that's what's happened with Manchester City over the season, is the pressure is building and building and building. Every time another one of their players misses it, they're probably all pretty good in training at taking them. But now, because one keeps missing and another keeps missing and they keep changing, trying to find that secret formula stick with the right one.
Well, there's another problem with that, and that is they do rotate a lot. So it may be that your penalty taker and even your number 2 penalty taker aren't even playing.
Which happened at the weekend.
David has tweeted saying the guy who wrote the book on penalty taking, Ben Littleton, was on H&J earlier. Absolutely right. And he said that Panenka perfected his technique over a few years. Spot on. But here's the thing. If the West Germany goalkeeper had stood still in the centre of his goal for every penalty before Panenka took his, do you think he would have dinked it down the middle? No. He thinks it through. He would have. You can't do the same for every single penalty. So if you're about to take the 5th penalty, and for all 4 penalties so far, keeper's gone low to his right. What are you going to do? Are you going to second guess and go low to the right, thinking he'll go low to his left for a change, or are you going to go the other way? It's either way. If he stands still in the middle of his goal for every penalty, you're not going to Panenka it then, are you?
I'd do what Fernandez does and wait till the goalkeeper dives and then put it in the other corner.
The hop skip, yeah. John's a City fan. What do you want to say, John?
Yeah, let's take the guesswork out of all this, because we've had about 4 or 5 penalty takers and they've all been pretty woeful, to be fair.
Yeah.
And so we had Yaya Toure and Balotelli who were cracking at penalties, but they've long since gone. So Sterling, Sadako, Agueros, 50-50. Let's just remove the guesswork out of all of the above. There's one player who's got ice in his veins on that park, and he's in the first 11 every week. Let's get Edison on penalties. I wouldn't like to stop one of his, would you guys?
Well, we obviously put him back at net and he don't miss.
It's a great point, John. and you know, we get into that stage with City where they've probably gone through the rest of the team. Edison's next in line.
Problem with the goalkeeper. I mean, when I was in rebounds and then you already go the other end and score. That's always the worry, isn't
exactly, yeah. And I'm not sure
it's
Pep
a
would
risk.
take that.
High risk.
Take that risk.
Saying that, is it any higher risk than what Aguero did? No.
Which was a massive risk. Which is probably why he's never going to take another one for City in his career at the Etihad.